The genius minds at the F-Zero Wiki, my own guilty couples, written by Econ Writer an hour ago. Ever had one of those couples/characters that seem like guilty pleasures? I'm not really talking as in sexual themes, but mostly because of how dark, though pleasant, these themes can be. Sometimes, doing bad does feel good, in a sense. Especially when it comes to fiction. So, here are some of my pairings that seem like guilty couples. This is really worded. Oh, they're guilty there's a difference between couples being guilty and it being a guilty pleasure couple, and this feels like fucking Google Translate. Fuck it, I'll only minorly edit this. Number 1, Cecil Harvey and Dragon Rose from Final Fantasy IV. I made a fanfic known as Trials of a King several years back, and it has been one of my favorite epics since. In it, Cecil and Rosa follow a group of ragtag Oh, I can't fucking say that seriously. I've tried like 7 times now. Rosa follow a group of ragtag redskins to an unknown territory and rescue their hostage, Dragon Rose. She's the young princess of her tribe, the Injukal, who live in the distant island in the eastern archipelago, Tenebrae, which is actually a foreboding name, as it is Italian for darkness. Anyway, she leads the Baron nobles to her camp and meet the proud chieftain Abdullah, as he honors them for saving her and their tribe. A celebration commences and ... Cecil seems to be affected by a number of drums as well as being infatuated with Dragon Rose, and they seem somehow attracted to one another even though it's part of her sultry charm used for Domin and Damon. But even though I still like Cecil and Rosa, I sometimes wish they'd be a couple too, as seen in my 3 tribal ceremonies. I feel like I have to read this in like a stereotypical like Native American accent, just because this is what this feels like as a white person writing Native Americans. As seen in my 3 tribal ceremonies. They were there, but seen embracing in the latter 2, in the 3rd ceremony. Let's say things might heat up. I fucking hate I need water. It's sort of a what-if scenario, and while it may be offending to some, I have this kind of enticing feeling whenever they're together that Cecil and Dragon Rose would be love interests aside from her with Doman or Damon, or Damien, whatever. I don't fucking care. The only person who fucking matters is, like, Cecil and Kane, anyway. As he would succumb to her and her charm, and alongside the Injukal as a proud dark warrior, and work alongside the Injukal as a proud dark warrior permanently. Who knows what would happen if Theodore may cease to exist. Not cease to, cease to exist. The Minans may not be able to attack the blue planet and just have the Injukal rule it all over. And next, number 2, Rick Wheeler and Miss Keller. So, why do you use Miss Keller but you use Rick Wheeler? Okay, whatever. I'm gonna use Ryu because you're a fucking big old dummy poo-poo pants. No, not in the anime since they did a bad job on their relationship, but rather my fix. In ending it all, Ryu and the task force become brainwashed by Black Shadow within Dark Star, and Ryu is the first one to be awakened. He embraced the Dark Thrall and united with his love within it. They seem to be whole, and even the Emperor felt the same, so much that he enlisted them to get rid of Tinsel. To prove his worth, he did just that in planet Alcatrin. What if he were to stay that way permanently? The way I see it. What if that, Ryu and Miss Keller, no longer addressed as Haruka, happen to ... settle down with each other as they reunite, albeit in the darkness. After that, he'll be fully committed to the task with her, but not kill Tinsel. Just enough to incapacitate her and slay Leon. After that, she may wake up in the same fashion along with the other members, and they and Black Shadow would soon rule the galaxy. This would be tough to execute but it may be nice and tempting to see Ryu with the evil persona intensifying after he gets involved with Miss Keller, then remain as vital parts of Dark Million and a couple forevermore. This could be one way to heal Ryu's DPS to wounds, and it does seem enticing after all. I too support pairing her with Black Shadow as well. Black Shadow and Miss Killer from F-Zero. Yes, I said it, I support this pairing too. Not the innocent Haruka Misaki, but rather her dark side, kind of like a Sindel / Shao Kahn. Pretty much the same case scenario as with her and Ryu united in the darkness. I would definitely see them as an evil pairing. After all, it's shown in the anime that Black Shadow clearly cares for her, as she receives the least punishment and he sees her as a promising, aspiring racer, especially when she appreciates her victories, or even protected her from Zoda's assault on the outer space meteor circuit as the robotic Black Bull crashed into the moon shadow, getting her out of harm's way. It's almost like she's instrumental, and that's not actually love. Who would have thought? Big thinky. Also, if it weren't for this pairing, their son, Lucifer Shadow, the young prince of Dark Chameleons, wouldn't have existed, right? They seem to have a lot in common, rather than just dark tension. They tend to become the best on what they can do. They have similar goals of ruling the universe, and they just look/work well together, even more so than Zoda and his lower class cronies. It's no doubt they'd have a relationship with each other if she hasn't regained her past memories and Zoda wouldn't keep complaining and complicating things, and I would also want to have Miss Killer to have these two relationships intact, both with Black Shadow and reunited in the darkness, if his thrall from Dark Chameleons happens to be permanent, and they'd be the organization's top dogs, much like my pairing of Ryu X Tinsel. I wouldn't mind if he'd have both pairings. Almost sounds like Miss Killer is like a self-insert or like a projection. You like the Black Shadow, you like the Ryu, let me just project myself through this character that's close to them. Suspicious. Number 4, Sheik and Link with the Gerudo, not Namira. Okay, so this may sound a bit contradictory, but hear me out. I felt disgusted with their relationship with Namira and the Gerudo seduction dance. But ever since I'd create the second and third tribal ceremony... What the fuck does this mean? Oh my... It's just... glasses off. Fuck it. I've attempted to have them paired. Even Impa the Gerudo can be irresistible, especially since they have similar tribal concepts like enticing dancing and drum beating, not to mention embrace them. So upon creating the last ceremony, I figured that Link... my fucking nose. I figured that Link and Sheik and perhaps Impa shall relax for a little while and consummate with the Gerudo. This isn't a canon relationship, mind you, but sometimes I'd like to see Link learn from tribal concepts of the Gerudo while even assisting to make the Pokemon, even sometimes relieving tension, and sometimes I feel like it is a unique way to do it. Heck, I even had the idea of the Gerudo utilizing a sperm bank as well, even with Link, since his can be the most healthiest. What the fuck was that?